Hey guys, John here. So the biggest question I always get when I do these courses is where can I get access to the source code? So I obviously can't upload that here on YouTube, so I've made that available for you over on BitTorrent. And along with the source code, you'll also be able to actually download the videos to your computer so you can have them forever. So if for some reason something crazy happened and I decided to delete them, or YouTube kicked me off of their site or whatever, it wouldn't really matter for you because you would have all the source code, you'd have all the videos, everything essentially that I've created for the course you would have on your own computer. So I've created a link in the description where you can find that stuff over on BitTorrent. Please consider going over there, supporting me that way. I'd appreciate that. Also, please consider making a donation here on YouTube using the fan funding. This is how, or one of the ways that I'm able to keep all of the videos that I'm doing and releasing here on YouTube for free, by those who are able to pitching in and allowing me to do that. So please consider that. And if you need access to any of the resources that I use through everything that I do online, coding, releasing videos, etc., you can head on over to johnmorrisonline.com/resources, and I have a whole slew of all sorts of different resources, from hosting to different tutorials and just everything over there that I use. So again, johnmorrisonline.com/resources. All right, on to the lesson. In this video, we're going to cover how to work with the ezSQL framework, or whatever you want to call it. Again, I talked about in the last video about how to abstract your database class. The fortunate thing is that a lot of that's already been done for you, and I recommend using some sort of system like this or framework like this for your projects, because again, they're community developed. There's lots of coders looking at them. They're being used in lots of places. So generally, they're going to be pretty sound. They're going to be constantly updated, and it's going to kind of keep you towards the front end of development when it comes to your coding, and it just cuts down on a lot of code that you would otherwise have to write and maintain yourself. Right. So I'm going to just show you a little bit about what it is, and then we'll go ahead and dive in and look how to use it. All right. So ezSQL was created by a guy named Justin Vincent. This is his site where he talks about ezSQL, and essentially, the idea behind it was he found himself constantly writing the same database code over and over again. So he decided to actually just go ahead and write a class that did all of the things that he found himself doing over and over again. Okay, so it's a pretty lightweight class. One of the advantages of this particular class, and he lists kind of some of the features here. I'll point out a few of them here. One is that it's actually written so that you can use MySQL, PDO, Oracle, PostgreSQL, SQLite, MS SQL, so on and so forth. So it works with a number of different databases, and what's nice about that is that the methods that you call from the class, whether you're using PDO or MySQL or Oracle, they're all the same. So you can build a wrapper on top of it that you use, and and be sure that that's going to work with a large number of databases. So you can install it on a server that may have a different database, or all the servers out there that people use with all the different databases they have. You can install your application on that and feel comfortable that it's still going to work just how you want it to. Right? So not only does it make, if you know you're just always going to be working with MySQL, it doesn't make MySQL easier, but it also really dramatically cuts down on what you would have to do in order if you wanted to start supporting all of these other different types of databases with your application. Okay, so that is ezSQL. This is his site. It's justinvincent.com and then /ezSQL, or you can just go directly to GitHub jb2222/ezSQL, and you can download it here. When you download it, here's my file structure over here. You can see that you have folders for all of the different systems that you might use, or all the different database types that you might use. I'm going to just basically cover what you need to get up and running here with this, and then talk a little bit about how you might use this with a wrapper class. All right, so let's go ahead and head over to our code. It's really pretty simple. First off, we're requiring our config file. We looked at this in the last video. Again, this is our same config file that we had, and we're including that. Then you need to include the ezSQL core. Now there's one thing, these are a little bit different depending on which database system you use. So for PDO, you actually you require these files a little bit differently. So that is one thing that does change a little bit, but that's pretty easy to manage. Here you're going to include the ezSQL core, and then you're going to include the ezSQL, the MySQLi extension for it, or the MySQLi class for it. Okay, so once you've done that and you've recruited those files, then you can go ahead and instantiate a new instance of the ezSQL MySQLi object. So we can use MySQLi, or if you want to use PDO or PostgreSQL or SQLite or whatever it is that you wanted to use, and then you pass in, again, as we've seen throughout this course, your database username, the password, the database name, the host, and here you can actually pass in the encoding. That's actually why I included this over here. So when you install this on a particular site, your application, if you need to specify a character encoding, you can actually just do that in your config file. So that's why I would say you always pass this through. That way if you do change it, it'll work how you expect. All right, so now down here we're doing a simple request. We're doing a call to get results, and our query is select all from the objects table. If we head over to our page here, then you can see this is running that query and printing the results. Okay, so up and working. We'll go ahead and go through both of these files just a little bit and show you some of what's available. Obviously, get results is one of them. If we go to the core first off, again, there's a lot of things in here in terms of this handles caching, it handles error messages, it does all of that stuff that it handles escaping, all the stuff that you should be doing, it handles. So there's a lot of that stuff in here. I'm not really going to necessarily go into that. I just want to go into the things that you're going to use to get to actually process the functions or the calls that you need to process. So get var, you can actually get a single variable from the database. So this is if you need something very specific. You don't need a big array. You actually just need a specific variable. Then you can do that with get var. Get row, we'll get an entire row. We kind of rolled our own in the last video, and I showed you how to do that. Here you actually have this built into this class so that you don't have to write this all out. You'll notice that there's a lot more code in here than what I had in mind. That's again one of the reasons why you would want to use this versus what we did in the last video. It's definitely a lot more developed, accounts for a lot more things. So that's the advantage of using this. So that's getting a row. You can get a column here. So if you want to get a single column, you can do that. Get results. So this is getting multiple rows again. It's got all the code already written for you, looping through and doing all of those things. That you normally would have to do, it does for you. And so those are kind of the main ones: get result, get column, get row, and get var. Okay, so it has those right here in the core. As far as the actual MySQLi version, you also notice we have a query that we can run generic queries on. We have a query method. So again, just like we had a query method in our last video in that class, you also have a query method here as well. We'll come up, and here we have an escape method. Okay, so this is handy because when you are, are working with user submitted data, whether you're inserting it or you're using it as a search term or using it as part of a where clause or whatever it may be, you can escape that data simply by calling this method. So it makes it very, very convenient to escape data inside of your code. All right, so those are kind of the main two in here. So again, makes it very simple to do the things that you need to do with your database. Now, of course, you can write a wrapper for, a wrapper on top of this, and you would do that in much the same way that we did before. So you might actually come into your wrapper and write, again, I'm just doing this, you would do this inside of a class. I'm just kind of writing it real quick, but you could write an insert function just the way we did, but now instead of having to call all of your own database methods that you call, you can call, DB query or whatever it is that you need to call in order to run your insert function. So you could do all the same things that we did in the last video in terms of setting up your query, but then you can just use an ezSQL to process the actual query itself. In this case, honestly, if I were writing a wrapper for this, I might have insert, update, and maybe delete. Those are the major ones that I could see having extra that aren't necessarily in ezSQL, because you can make your life a little bit easier by creating a function that will do all kind of the formatting and stuff for you. So those are the ones that I could see doing. You already have get row, get results, get var, get column. You already have a bunch of different things different methods available for selecting data already. So it would kind of seem a little bit redundant to me to write in extra ones for this. Okay. All right, so that's kind of working with ezSQL. Now, one thing that may be a hang up for you is that ezSQL doesn't actually use prepared statements. It does do all of the proper escaping when you use its escape methods. It does do all the proper escaping. So there's not a security risk there by any means, but it doesn't use prepared statements. So you may be thinking to yourself that you really want to use something that uses prepared statements. So the thing about it is there are classes out there that are available that do use prepared statements. So if you do a little bit of searching, you can find one. I actually found one here called ezPDO, which seems pretty well supported and used, and it'll support not as many as ezSQL, but it'll support MySQL, PostgreSQL, and SQLite. And it actually uses prepared statements. You can do both with it, but it'll actually support prepared statements. So you'll notice, for example, they're using this query here to select this data, and this is a regular non-prepared query here. However, they're showing how to do the exact same thing down here using a prepared statement. So it's this fetch object method that they have available in this class. You have your query here, you have your placeholder, and then here you would put in the format for that placeholder, and here you put in the actual value that should replace that placeholder. Okay, so that again is a pretty simple way of doing prepared statements, so you don't have to do all the binding and all that stuff. It's gonna do all of that for you and actually fetch it as an object, and then you can just work with it. Okay, so that is ezPDO. Again, it's pretty simple class to use. All right, so that is how to work with ezSQL. This is another one that you can work with in order to use prepared statements. So hopefully enjoy that. I'll talk to you later.